the special guest joining us all the way from London right here in ET now is Anil Agarwal of Vedanta. He's a metal czar. He's also got a large business interest in crude. So Mr. Agarwal, welcome to ET now. Thanks for joining us. We've got you here after that dinner meeting of Xi Jinping and Donald Trump. A temporary truce, a ceasefire being called for 90 days. We've seen metal prices rebound the world over. What is this going to mean for companies like Vedanta, for businessmen like you who have been worried about this entire trade war which has been affecting your business, and back home all of you have also been calling for import curbs?
Yeah, very good. I think the world is getting wiser and they want to sit down and across the table sort out things, and a 90 days cooling off period to think through is a good thing, whether it's a China and U.S. and the U.S., Saudi Arabia, all this, they all want to sit down and talk. And I think it's a nice way, according to me. I'm a very positive person. So I think whatever happens will be good. As far as India is concerned, I'm very much concerned about the import. You know, India is almost 2 billion people as a continent. India, Nepal, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka. So all these things we cover, and we completely import base, whether it's a crude or whether it's aluminum, whether it's a iron ore, coal. And it is a time because we have the capability. I've been saying our public sector, our company
and someone who has such Mr. Agarwal, I wanted to get a sense from you as someone who has such massive interest in the metal space. You've entered steel as well. So with this 90-day truce being called, and globally we have seen metal stocks rebound. In the commodity markets, we've seen prices go up as well. Do you fear that maybe the markets have run ahead of themselves? This is just a temporary truce. It's not as if the higher tariffs are being rolled back. They're only being rolled back for maybe auto, not for metals and not for steel. Isn't that an area of concern?
No, it's not. If you see bounce back, it's not a big. If you see the percentage, it's about 4 or 5%. Which is not that great, but it gives you a sigh of relief, sigh of positiveness that things are going in the right direction. Things are going in the right direction, which was subdued last few days, what was happening. And as far as India is concerned, we were very concerned on the import of scrap of aluminium. We never seen 60% rise in the import of scrap. Whole world was dumping in India. You know, when you import scrap, it's all dollar payment. And when we produce aluminium scrap in India is 100% domestic. We have our own coal, we have our own bauxite. It is a great advantage for us to produce more in India than import this scrap. So this was definitely a concern. I'm sure with this, some relief will be there. So dumping ground, India will not be.
Agarwal, you know, we know. And Mr. Agarwal, when it comes to not imposing those import duties, you know, even we know you have asked for it, Hindalco's asked for it, the Aluminium Association has asked for it, there have been a series of meetings. Today the Finance Minister Arun Jaitley has also talked about breaking down trade tariffs. I want to now talk about another interest that you have, which is in the crude market. Crude prices have fallen 40%. They started rebounding. Brent right now is back above $60. What is all of this going to mean for your oil and gas business with a special focus on cane? You're seeing Qatar looking to exit OPEC. There's a famous handshake now between Russia as well as Saudi Arabia. Are you looking at realigning any of your businesses? Could you look at expansion now that crude is going back above $60? Give us a sense of how you're reading the crude metrics.
Yeah, the two things. One is about the crude price. I've always said the price is going to be around $60, $70. And that's what we should hovering around. Last time Prime Minister has a meeting with Aramco chairman. I was present on that meeting, and it was one of the reactions where Prime Minister has told him, OPEC is also in your hand, production is also in your hand, everything will you do, then what will happen to the country like India? We can't afford more than $50-60 price. And this Saudi Aramco chairman has said that our cost is $40-50. And I got up and I said, look, I produce in the cane at $6. So everybody was looking at India has a huge capability to produce oil and huge capability of our ONGC, Kane and other company to come forward. So I'm looking more and more two things. One is about the price.
You were in Houston.
The price will be
Mr. Agarwal, you were in Houston. Kane has won more than 40 oil and gas fields. You're looking for partners, whether it's Schumpeter, ExxonMobil, etc. Give us an update because that's important for India's crude production. It's important for Vedanta and your shareholders too.
Beautiful, beautiful. No, we are absolutely looking. I have taken a huge risk to take the 41 block, and we are going to start all the work. I was personally in Houston, where I never seen 80 companies has shown to do the work, and in India they never could believe that India can open up like this. So we are putting as much as effort is possible and squeezing the time because technology is very much in advance. Today's time, what used to be done in 10 days can be done in 5 days. I'm very hopeful on this block, and I'm looking forward whether we can produce 50% oil of this country.
Okay, you're wanting to produce 50% oil of the country. Mr. Agarwal, before I let you go, how can I talk to you on a day when, a temporary truce has been called and not ask you a question on Anglo-American, where you had taken a personal stake? And there was a lot of speculation that could Anglo-American ever be merged with Vedanta. Today, when things are looking brighter and more shiny for metals, could that be back on the table, that possibility of a merger of Anglo-American with Vedanta?
No, it's a beautiful question. I'm very pleased with the 22%, close to 22% shareholding, which is the largest shareholder of Anglo. And my first intention is, because they are the largest player in iron ore, they are the largest player in coal, they are the largest player in diamond, and we have all this opportunity in India. So I'm persuading them all the time and giving them a comfort that please come to India. There will be the lowest cost of production, and there is no red tapeism today. The government is welcoming. We have come down on ease of doing business from 177 to 70. So you should have a lot of comfort instead of making an investment elsewhere. Only thing I can persuade them. So my first intention, if they can come to India and open up some project. So that is my endeavor. The company is doing extremely well after we have come. I find the entire management is doing extremely.
Right.
Tomorrow also the entire team is coming to me, and I'm looking forward how can I encourage them to do better. But for me, as far as India is concerned, the crude and the aluminium is scrap. We cannot have the dumping ground on the basis of scrap being dumped in India, and we the people. We have to produce more and more aluminium in India because we have a huge bauxite and huge coal.
You know, you really have been spearheading that cause, Mr. Agarwal, and if all the policymakers that are watching you here, right here on ET now, the metal and crudes are making an important case on what India must do to make sure that it protects its rights at a time when most countries are looking inward. Mr. Agarwal, always a pleasure chatting with you. Thank you so much for joining us here on ET now. We really appreciate it coming out and giving us your views. Back to you, Ruchi.
Thank you very much, Nancy. All the best. Thank you.